Masa saya di kampung Kirby ialah terlalu istimewa. Well, something that you dream of, and something like a dream come true.
I left here in 1957, December. I never been back.
I feel very honored and happy to be here.
It's been this great feeling about this place. A kind of a welcome home.
It's good to be back. Jolly good to be back. I was waiting and looking forward to seeing you. So
It's a privilege to come back and be together again. So we always get together, but not so far away. We get together in Malaysia, but imagine getting together in England. Yeah, it's a great feeling.
I first came here in 1954, stayed on until 1956. During that 2 years, the best thing that happened was the announcement of Malaya having independence, and it is today, very day, 31st August.
Extremely excited to mark the space where our beloved college stood.
Oh, these are my big sisters. My small sister, my big sister. We call them sisters because she was my senior and she was my junior. So much memory here, you know.
lots of memories.
60 years.
This is me at the age of 18, leaving Malaysia to be trained as a teacher in Kirby.
When I applied for teacher training, I was informed that I had been selected to be trained as a teacher and that I would be leaving for Kirby in about 2 weeks' time. My father had known a number of families whose sons and daughters had come to England, to Kirby, to be trained. And he had hoped that one of his children too would be going to Kirby. It was something great, for a child from a Sikh family to come to England to be educated. So I think they were very elated.
We came by plane, the BOAC Argonaut, with a propeller. It was a long journey, Karachi, and then after that we went on to Bahrain, and then we had Rome before we finally reached Heathrow. And from Heathrow, we had a coach right up to Kirby. And everything was strange. First time, I saw sheep. Never heard of sheep, Baba, black sheep and white sheep. And here we are, the first time we see a field full of sheep. And everybody was so excited about it,
It was already blistering cold for us, although it was still late summer. It was very cold for us.
The English weather, of course, is very fickle. And then now we realize what it meant to be as fickle as the English weather.
What I cannot get used to is the rain. In autumn and the wind, the wind was really, really frightening.
At the beginning it was We really don't know where we were. And what greeted us were just like barracks.
There was a ragging period, freshie period. So the seniors who were here already 1 year, so they were correcting us. Freshie, don't talk with food in your mouth. Freshie, don't point at people. Freshie, don't stare at people. Freshie, don't speak so loudly in public. And then we learned how to use cutlery, because back home we were using chopsticks. Freshie, don't put the knife into your mouth. Freshie, don't turn the fork upward into your mouth. And we learned to pick up peas and beans with a fork.
The teaching methods here were very different from the training methods that were available in Malaya at that time.
The training was invaluable. The two new subjects to me were speech and phonetics and education. Speech and phonetics, sometimes there's a bit of a struggle.
Sometimes we miss what you say because you talk fast and you have what do you call it, pronunciation different. In London, it's very difficult to hear the Cockney.
My mother taught in the Malayan College. She was an art lecturer during the 1950s. I mean, there were odd moments of memories that my mother shared with me from her times with the students, and they were always with a smile. When they went on excursions too. I know they went to the Lake District on one excursion, staying in youth hostels.
I came to Kirby in 1958 and 1959. I enjoyed the most my physical education class. We had sailing in Lily Shore on the River Thames, and also we had canoeing on the river Hare on Wye. So it was a very enjoyable time for me as a sportsman. We used to go hitchhiking in Europe, in various countries. It was a great eye-opener for a Malaysian boy. I was 20 at that time. We also had other organized activities, and medley shows that we have in college. During Chinese New Year or Deepavali, we invite people to come to the college.
I worked there for 2 years, which was very enjoyable. And then my sister came to help out. Any celebration you were invited to. On the 21st to the 23rd of July 1960, there was a Malayan medley. This photograph is of my husband and I in the quiet room on one of the occasions, and the other is taken with the bursar and his wife. My husband and I and one of the senior lecturers, again at one of the celebrations. We had to be very careful though with high heel shoes because it was a wooden floor and they didn't want any stiletto heels going into the floor.
This is an invitation, one of many that I received while we were working at the college. This was a speech day ceremony, and we were entertained by the college orchestra and the college choir.
And your husband also came?
Yes, my husband was invited also. Yes, it was a happy time, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
My name is Norma Skilling. I went to CF Moss Training College in Prescott, and I remember the Malayan students because we used to ask them to dances. This is me at college when we'd finished our course, and it would be in 1955. Because we were an all-girls college, we were desperate to have some men to dance with. Very quiet, most of them. Very polite. They were good dancers. Everybody was a ballroom dancer then. None of this disco stuff in 1953.
I was one of those lucky one who was invited to homes. I remember going over to Wallasey, isn't it? And there's a family, the Moores family, M-O-O-R-S. We had dinners with them. Here I'd like to say thanks for that memory. It was beautiful.
First memories of the students coming were just sort of opening the front door and ushering them in and making a big fuss of them, and all the family came over to our house to meet up with them. 3 students used to come regularly to our house. He's Yusuf Idris. There was Raji Haji Noor and Shahid Haji Noor. All the family thought the world of them. They were involved in all our family get-togethers, and we came up to the training college for the shows that they used to put on, which were fabulous.
The students would go to the local church and our parents would bring them back to our house for supper. Sunday night there'd
be a house full.
Yes, they would, and they'd all come back.
There would be
There'd
cakes.
probably be beef sandwiches and big cake, yes.
That Mum had made.
Yes.
And the first time they ever saw snow, and we were saying, come in, and they were saying, no, and they were rolling round, and of course eventually they came in frozen and soaking wet and trying to dry them out. We said, you won't do that again. I think it must have been in the early 80s. My dad phoned and he said, I've got somebody here, can I bring him up? I said, of course, we lived in Litherland, and it was Yusuf again. Absolutely thrilled to see him.
My mother left at the end of 1958. My memory of my mother's contact with the Malayan students was always Christmas cards, Christmas news. Occasionally people turned up. I remember a lady coming when I was about 4, when we were living in Dundee, and she turned up with a yellow mini skirt and very long nails, polished nails, and I had never seen anyone looking like that. And long nails, that was, for a 4-year-old, I was just amazed, especially as I bit mine. And then she went to Malaysia in the 80s and was given a real royal treatment when she went by the students that she'd met and by other people who'd been there.
There was one couple, Mimi Fu and Jim Lee Chong Lei, and they met up there, got married, went to live in Australia, and 23 years ago my husband and I went and stayed with them, and it was lovely seeing them again.
My late wife is also a Kirbyite, so our romance started at Kirby Wood.
From a 20-year-old girl, we came and we went home a much more matured person, and I also met my future husband here. And we've been married 55 years. And he's here with me today, he's there.
Although we were from the same town in Malaya, we met in college here actually. And well, as they say, when you get together, love develops, love blooms.
2, 3.
We came as teenagers. We returned as matured adults, qualified and ready to teach children in Malaysia.
My last memory here was we were returning in batches. So we were saying goodbye to the earlier batches every day and crying a lot at the train station.
I cried and cried and cried. I didn't want to go back.
My time here was most illuminating, most edifying, most enjoyable, the best part of my life. I can say that even now.
From Kirby, that was the base that changed our lives. What we learned, the experience, that took us very far in our profession later on. And it was indeed a very noble profession. I felt very nice, especially up to today. Even just last week, a pupil celebrated his 50th birthday, and I was remembered. I was invited among the special guests with another 3-4 teachers. So it shows that we have somehow touched their lives, and that is a great feeling.
My mother loved her time at the college. It was, I would say it's her happiest experience, definitely. And it was definitely very fulfilling.
My wife and I are the only couple coming back to Kirby, So Kirby has given me a good life. And as a teacher, I went on to become a lecturer in physical education. Now I'm 80 and I'm just traveling and enjoying a bit of life wherever I can.
Although the structures of the college are no longer there, memories remain. Memories of the people that I met and I worked with still remain with me.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
On behalf of the Alumni Association of the Malayan Teachers Training College, Kirby, which was on this spot until about 60 years ago, I wish to thank you for allowing us to mark this spot where our first Prime Minister declared to the world that Malaya was going to be an independent nation. Thank you so very much.
Can't explain, It's so nostalgic. I've been thinking of this for a long time, coming back. And especially now as we are getting older and some of, quite a number of our friends have moved on, passed on. So every visit is a kind of homecoming. Yeah.
Nearly 2,000 of us were trained here. And as you can see, the attachment to Kirby has remained very strong. 60 years.
After 60 years, I came back to the place where I feel the happiest time of my life.
Trying to put together in my memory where the different places were. For example, the playing fields where I used to play rugby. We were privileged, to be accepted as part of the community here. But today we see we have another set of people. A new community has come about, has developed. One generation goes, a new generation have come to take our place. So that's all been part of a wonderful living experience. And we're, in a sense, very grateful to the British people.